Morning. Well, today's lesson, everybody, get back on the bike, no matter what it takes. Lots of activity. It's a Friday morning in Nocatee, Florida. Morning. Get on the bike, stay on the bike. When you're dealing with tough stuff, the bike does make it better, but I also get it. I also get it that if you've been off the bike for a while or life's coming at you really fast, it's really easy to get out of habit. All I can offer is do what it takes to get back on the bike, whether you've been off for a couple weeks, a couple years, or hell, even a couple decades if it comes down to it. If you want to be back on the bike, get back on the bike. It makes your life so much better, even in the middle of hard stuff. Having to deal with some health issues with my father at the moment. This is, where are we at? How deep into this route are we? We're 1.6 miles. So what, probably a mile of it has been this trail so far. This pathway. So less than a half mile from their garage. That's nice. This trip we are on the Salsa Confluence, which is an extremely cool bike. This is technically Jan's bike. This is my wife's bike. But she recognized this was a good bike for this trip. There is some e-assist there. We'll talk about when I put that to work later in the ride. But it's light enough to manhandle around and take from place to place. And it's just a damn fine adventure bike, which you'll be seeing here pretty shortly. I do have my heart rate monitor on. Right there. Been struggling with different heart rate monitors over the years. I think I found the keeper finally. My previous heart rate monitor to this one, I liked as a heart rate monitor, but it was an arm strap that needed to be recharged, and I would have a tendency to leave home without it. So it was not my Amex card or Bank America card or whatever it was. So a regular watch just stays on my wrist all the time, and I don't have to worry about forgetting my heart rate monitor. Because if you're riding an e-bike for fitness, you got to be watching that heart rate to make sure you're actually working. Because it's real easy to let the e-bike spoil you and not put in the work that you need to. But particularly if you're getting back on the bike, if you've been off the bike for a while, e-bike's a pretty snazzy tool. As it is, I'm going a little harder than I really want to at the moment, so we're going to dial it back a touch. Coming right. Oh, oh. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, that's the worst part of the ride. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It gets much better now. You'll see shortly. And this is where the pavement ends for a while. Good stuff. Now we're rambling, right? Let's see what happens with the camera. See if it bumps its way down to a better angle here momentarily. Let's see what happens with that. See if that maybe stays in position. It's definitely vibrating. It'll be interesting to see how that footage comes out. So this is what I believe is, and I'm pretty sure there's signage up here to confirm it. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think this is the Nocatee Preserve kayak launch. We'll call this the south one. I'm pretty sure there's a one to the north as well. It might be easier to access for most vehicles, but for our needs, I like this one. I mean, obviously it's popular. Well, I don't think we're gonna be able to make it to the launch to show off the water. That's not a big deal. There's other spots we can show off the water, I think. I was gonna check them out anyway. So a nice little pavilion with restrooms, water, shower, sweet. Standard parking area. So a neat little gathering spot here, or, I mean, personally, I'd rather just ride to here and ride back. So this is a little bit of trail. It's gonna cut the corner that we just did coming back. This is multi-use trail, open to all. There's some trails off to the side that some other day I'll explore more of. I have one up here I want to check out though. And there are a few spots along the way that are puddles, water over the trail here and there. Nothing so far too serious. I mean, obviously it can change. Crabs everywhere. I think I squished that one. I'm sorry. All right, let's see where this goes. Maybe. I haven't been this way, but I think it'll get us out to the intercoastal. All the crabs. All the crabs. Oh my gracious. But getting back to, I mean, the important thing is just get on the bike. And if you're riding regularly now and you don't need an e-bike to get started, fantastic. I'm not trying to sell e-bikes here. But I can tell you from personal experience, after being off the bike for an extended period of time, dealing with major issues health-wise that kept me off the bike, the e-bike was a fantastic tool to get back into the swing of things. And where I have trained up to the point where I don't need the e-bike. I can ride regular bike again, but the e-bike was tremendously helpful in getting me there quicker than, I don't know if I would have been able to do it without the e-bike, because it allowed me to go out and ride for a couple hours with my friends when I wasn't ready to do it physically and have those adventures. And there we go. Not too shabby, huh? But it helped me pick up my fitness. Like I said, I'm riding the e-bike today. Jan insisted I take her bike, which is e-assist as well, because she's trying to get back into the swing of things on the bike too. Just because I wasn't going to know when I was able to ride, where I was able to ride out here. And the e-bike gives you a lot of flexibility if you go too far down a dead-end road and have to double back and double the mileage you were planning to do. You don't have to worry about getting exhausted, or if things are taking longer than you planned. We've got family obligations right now and got to be back home at certain times. If you got to, you can crank up that e-assist and max it out and buzz home at 20 miles an hour as opposed to struggling through a headwind at 8 miles an hour, I'll be honest with you, particularly when I'm riding new stuff, for me the biggest advantage of the e-bike has been when I do have to play in traffic, which obviously I try to stay away from as much as possible. But when I do have to play in traffic, I am not shy about cranking up the boost all the way just to go as fast as I can to get out of traffic as soon as possible. And man, that's a huge relief, to be honest with you. So again, not a commercial for e-bikes. I'm not telling you need to go out and buy a Salsa Confluence by any stretch of the imagination. But if you've been off the bike for a long time and one of your biggest concerns is how hard it's going to be to get back into it, get back into the shape, the form you were before, be able, maybe you've put on 50 pounds. Yeah, and if, back in the day, if you were 50 pounds lighter and racing Cat 1 or Cat 2, yeah, it's going to be a process to get back to those levels. The e-bike lets you be closer to where you were before, and as long as you're monitoring the heart rate, you can start building the fitness. And I mean, realistically for me, it was maybe 6 to 9 weeks of, I was planning to do all e-bike training this year to hopefully get in shape for 2025 to get back on the regular bike. And I started that program July 1st, first week of July, whatever the Monday worked out to there. And basically, after 9 weeks, I was basically full-time on what I call traditional bike, non-e-bike. But those first 6 weeks, I definitely used the e-bike to build my fitness on the cardio level. And it did some on the strength and power level a little bit. Obviously, an e-bike's not going to build your strength and power. But if it builds up the cardio fitness and the endurance, that base is the most important part to getting back on the bike. I would think it's safe to say that anybody that's wanting to get back on the bike that hasn't been on it for a long time, if you do an e-bike for 12 weeks, I think you're going to be comfortable to getting back on the regular bike and doing 12 weeks will get most people to where they can ride regular bike again for multiple hours. You might not be knocking out a Century in 4 hours or anything like that, but I bet you could pull off a Century or pretty damn close to it. So here's another section of trail. This is really cool stuff here. Oh, found the hole. There will be sections of this definitely underwater, but everything was manageable when I was through here the other day. And I think there's some single track towards the end of this that maybe I'll check out. We'll see. We'll see. On this bike right now, I do have the lowest level of e-assist on, but I'm just chugging along right at my target heart rate. So, nutshell, I had a fantastic first 12-week block to get back on the bike. And then, like we talk about with our riding everyday approach, you don't schedule rest days because life's going to make those happen regardless. So you just, not everyone can ride every single day. I get that, but you ride every day you possibly can. That's what we mean by riding every day. If it works out to 7 days in a week, fantastic, good for you. But if that's not able to happen, you just ride every day you possibly can. You make a point to make it happen. Maybe not necessarily jump through hoops, but put the pieces in place to make it more likely to happen. So I had a great 12-week block of riding almost every day. Really was pleased with my progress. And after that 12-week block, had a really heavy week with a ton of miles. I was really pleased with that. And then life happens. So we run into emergency medical with a sick dog like the first week of October. And that was a life situation, a full-time life situation for most of October. Bailey's fine, if anyone's wondering, but you know, we had to go through the process. And literally got to where he was pretty close to normal mode and not as much hands-on needed. And then unfortunately my dad's had a health scare. Not life-threatening at this point. So thank you for your thoughts for my dad. But it is life-changing, and it's gonna be a thing. And I don't know what that looks like. We've got lots of support in the family, lots of hands on deck. We're able to play tag team, and you know, everybody rotate in as needed. So that, you know, we'll make that part work. But yeah, it's something different in the mix. So I'm here this week while my dad's in ICU, staying with my mom full time because she had her health issues last year. She needs somebody supporting her full time. But you know, this is my third time this week that I've been able to get out for an hour to an hour and a half or so and get some bike time in. And I mean, I found this little corner of paradise here. Didn't know this was all here. It's like, whoa, hole. And yeah, I need brake pads. Sorry, Jan, I've worn out your brake pads. Didn't know this was here, and just did a little glancing at the map one night. It's like, this looks like it has potential, and by gosh, it does. And we were planning to start doing some Club Spinistry Eastern time zone riding later this year and into 2025. We knew we wanted to start doing some stuff in Florida because we knew my folks and her folks were going to need more of our time, but we're not leaving Texas. We're still going to be doing our Texas stuff too, but we're going to cover a couple of different time zones and maybe some stuff in between. And I don't know what the adventure riding scene is around St. Johns County, Florida at the moment, but willing to find out. This is a neat little loop here if anybody wants to join me whenever I'm this way. And I've already found a few other potential gems out there I want to check out as well. I'm seeing less water. I probably just jinxed myself, but the other day there was stuff under. I know I've done a couple rolls through higher water by this point. There's one corner a ways up here. Maybe not. This might be it right here, actually. Interesting. This is kind of cool. Pretty sure that, oh, snake. Black snake. Looked like a friendly snake. Yeah, this was all underwater the other day. I had to go all the way around up there. Very cool. Very cool. I wasn't expecting this. I actually stayed off of this section day before yesterday. Rode it Monday. It wasn't bad. Going through the puddles and dodging that big underwater section, it wasn't bad, but Wednesday it wasn't on the top of my list of things to do, so I bypassed this section. But I wanted to catch it again to show it off. And it's neat to see how it does change from day to day. Get a bit more familiar with that. You know, I think this spot's, all of this spot, I think it's called Nocatee Preserve. And I think it's a developer park. I'm not positive of that. I'm not seeing any signage that denotes it as county, city, or state, or anything like that. Oop, I missed my drink warning. I'm gonna stop and drink because I think I've probably splashed shit onto the spout of the water bottle. And this is shit you don't want in your mouth. Find that easy to access home loop or close to work loop or on the way to home from work or on the way to kids' ball practice or during ball practice or whatever. Find you something that's a go-to that you can always squeeze in a quick hour, hour and a half. Quick hour, you know what I mean. The worst thing you can do is try to ride at 200% once or twice a week, trying to make up for, air quotes, lost saddle time. That's a recipe for disaster. You're better off just pace yourself in smaller chunks. Morning. If you're off the bike and want to get back on the bike, if you missed the bike, if you've always thought you wanted to ride more, just please get back on the bike. It's my sanity has gotten so much better this year. Not implying that I was in bad shape. I was doing pretty good for a broken down old man. Broken down fat old man. Still fat, still old, less broken down, and more confident. I mean, I feel better about the future physically for myself than I have in forever. I thought it was just too much of an uphill battle. It's really easy to be under the perception we're not supposed to be able to do this stuff. And it's really easy to convince yourself that you can't. When I know for sure, if I can do this, anybody can. Yeah, I'm not going to have time for the single track today. We'll save that for a future trip, but there's some stuff right over there, I think, looks like. And the heat map shows us. Well, there's a little bit there. That's where you come back out, it looks like. Okay. Might have to actually bring the mountain bike. We'll see. Let's see. I bet there are some ups and downs in there. Look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? Holy hell. This is what bike riding's about. And yeah, this is my Florida. This is the parts of it I fell in love with. Oh man. A little breeze in my face. Sun went behind the clouds. Nice little canopied trail under the Spanish moss in between the rows of palmettos. Oh my God. I'm loving this. I'm going back to Texas for a while tomorrow. And then we have our Back in the Saddle ride. Hey, pretty appropriate now that I think about it. Back in the Saddle is kind of our theme for 2025 now that I've been thinking about. Because I know there's a lot of folks out there that miss the bike like I did. And my point is, it doesn't take much to get into the full swing of long, hard, and dirty spinistry type rides if you're missing them. If you've been off the bike completely, I think it's fair to say give yourself a full 12 weeks and you'll be surprised where you are after 6 or 9, and you'll be really capable after 12. If you're riding here and there but just not regular enough to feel confident on the bigger stuff, give yourself that 6 to 9 weeks. And we're going to help you get there. We'll outline some simple and easy approaches to get you there. And if you go to that next level and you need some real deal coaching, that's not what we're here for. We encourage folks to work with coaches. And we're not coaches, not pretending that we are. But we can help get you ready for a coach and go to that next level. All right. And here's the north end of the preserve. Now, this isn't that north kayak launch that I was talking about. That's a different area, but this is the north part of the Nocatee Preserve. Coming up on the high school here. And we're pavement in some form or fashion the rest of the way. But that said, a lot of it is paved pathway or very, very low traffic like this road.